Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Talk That Tech, the
Number one tech morning show in the world. Good morning.
good morning. And we had a good weekend. We are glad that we're back. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We got a few things that we're going to chat about today. Before we do that, how was your weekend?
Bro, the weekend was solid. Definitely had a little bit going on Saturday. My mom, she wanted to have like a big family photo, or what do you call them? Basically Christmas photos, man. But with everyone,
Hmm.
So yeah, my brother and his family, me and mine, and my parents, and so yeah, we went and did that Saturday. Was able to get in a couple of our own as well. So yeah, that's gonna be good as well. We already got that knocked out and out of the way. So that's a win. And yeah, Sunday was after church. Just was at the house, just tinkering away with these building these agents and stuff. So,
Mm.
just trying to um, continue to tinker and figure it out and do those type of things. But that's about it for me, man. That is about it. How about yours?
Nice, man. Well, yeah, there's definitely a few things that happened this morning. We got people in the building. We got Operation Tech Takeover. It says peace and blessings, family. So glad that
What
you're
up?
able to stop on by. It's always a treat having you stop on by. So we definitely
What's
appreciate that.
up?
Yes. What's up? What's up? Oh man. Well, this is gonna. We have a question that's gonna come up that I think you're gonna enjoy based on what you just said, Trey. I think it's gonna be a really good conversation before we get started on the show.
Hmm.
For me, I would say that basically it was pretty much a norm in regards to just like a basic weekend chores, things of that nature, nothing crazy. But it was definitely a good one where I felt like I had a little time to do some work, chores, and relax and spend time with the kids. And that's one thing I've been trying to do is if I'm doing something, how could I try to incorporate the kids more, and
Hmm.
try to get them not only involved or just kind of open them up to my world, but even like basically kind of just finding out more about their world. So I was actually talking to my daughter and say, "Do you know what I do?" She's like, "No." She's like, "You just work at your office." So, and I try to explain to her a little bit of what that is, and like, you know what? I'm gonna try to give her a crash course so she can work alongside Daddy just to kind of see a little more what it is that I do, and
Very important.
understand. Yeah, especially
Because
because she's at
I
an
didn't
age.
know. I'm trying to think, man. I didn't know what my dad did till. I mean, I know for sure I got that question in middle school, and I was like, I don't know. He's at this industrial building, and they do like these. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So no, very important. Very important.
yeah, no, it's real. It's absolutely real. Like I felt the same way. I was like, I think I know my dad did. No, I definitely knew my mom did. She always had me close by
Yeah.
for stuff like that. But my dad,
Yeah.
it wasn't until like later on in life where I was like, okay, I know what he did in
Yeah.
manufacturing as
Same.
well.
Same.
So that was very good. OTTO, he said that tired from working and birthday festivities yesterday. I totally
Hey,
get it.
birthday was
Totally get it.
yesterday. Okay. Okay.
Congratulations, sir. Happy birthday, belated, but happy
Yeah,
birthday,
man.
man.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah,
So
man.
November 9th, my brother's was November 8th, and then I'm a week before that, October 28th. We in the same area. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that.
that's dope. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
November birthdays, man. My wife is actually a November birthday as well. She's coming up.
What?
She's not there yet, but it's a lot of November birthdays. He said, appreciate it. We appreciate you, OTTO. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sure. I wanted to start off by saying, going back to the housekeeping rules. If you did not know, this is a call-in show, and we want to make sure that you can call in and share your thoughts about anything that we talk about. So go ahead and feel free to do that. We're also going to make sure that if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, as you can see on the ticker below, to youtube.com/ at Talk That Tech Show. We would love to make sure that you get a chance to not only connect with us so you don't miss a beat, but hit that bell icon as well so you can always hear what we're going on. And we want to make sure that you are tuned in to us as usual. So, Before we dive deeper into it, I also want to remind you that if you do come on the show like OTTO did, and you do share, we will give you a star, shout you out at the end, so others can follow you and see what you're doing in your neck of the woods. So just want to throw that out there before we get started. But yeah, there's a conversation here that we're gonna get involved in, and that's regarding the new. I won't give you too much, but is there a possible trillionaire that among our midst? We'll see about that, as well as a recap of one of the largest events that we have in the tech space, especially for those people like ourselves who are in this industry. But we want to kind of, before we get into that, I have a thought, because you said something very interesting, Trey, that I thought was good. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually saw it on social media, I believe it was yesterday or this morning. And the person was saying, man, the village isn't gone. It's just that people aren't trying to be a village. And what I mean by that is, when we grew up with almost two or three generations where it's our mother and then our grandparents, and they have this family dynamic where it really was a village. You know, somebody came home, brought the kids from school, maybe, and picked them up while the parents were working and came on. And so that village sort of mindset, in some places, it's still thriving. In other places, it's not. And so the question I had for the group is, hey, do you believe that the village is gone? And so if you have a thought about that, if you feel like, yeah, there's no village anymore, there's nobody that's grandparents or someone that want to hang out and be present with the grandkids or whatever the case may be, let us know this in the comment section, or you could call in or drop the link. But if you feel the other way, feel like, hey, the village is still here, we'll love to hear your thoughts before we start the show. But yeah, what are your thoughts about that, Trey? I think I know your thoughts, but I'd love to share with the audience.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely know mine, man. I would say it is gone for most people. For most families, it's definitely gone. As y'all know, I've told y'all over the years, my family is very intentional about getting together, about being together and doing things. I have 3 opportunities for family reunions a year. I have my mom's side on her dad's. I have my mom's side with her grannies, and or with my granny, and then I have my dad's side with his dad's side. So I have a lot of family that is together all the time. Matter of fact, they've already. I just got a text December 20th. They're having a holiday brunch, pancakes and pajamas. This is a mixture of 3 sides of it's going to be a packed house, but it's going to be fun. They're going to have the pajamas, they're going to have the food, they're going to have the games, all that kind of stuff before Christmas, because probably on that day we'll be with our little groups. But you got to be intentional. Anything left to itself is going to die. It's going to get all kind of weeds and stuff, right? If that's even a garden, you can have the prettiest garden in the world. If you just leave it there, it's going to get ugly. You can have a great lake. If you just leave it there, it's going to get murky and turn into a swamp. It's just natural. You can't leave it. You got to be intentional. So yeah, when I say most of them are. Most of them are dying on their way out. Family don't know each other. But there are some that still do hold the fort and still have a good time. But you got to be intentional about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. You have to be intentional for sure. And it takes both parties. And I'm going to actually say something real quickly, and then I have a special surprise for everybody. But real quickly, it definitely takes intentionality and, reciprocity. Basically, that's the word, if I said it right. Where, because I know people, I'm going to use my wife, for example. She has gone out her way to give back to her community at the inconvenience of herself and her family. And sometimes it's not received the same way. And sometimes it's like basically like, oh yeah, I can't do it because I'm not feeling it or whatever. Da, da, da. And she's like, bro, I just brought I took a train 2.5 hours to help you out, or I literally brought my 5 kids and did X, Y, and Z, and it's not received the same way. So that's why I kind of like, I feel like what you first said is true. Like, the village to me, as we know it, is gone. But if you really find people that are like minded and they're intentional about making it something, then that village is still there. That village is still there, but it really takes a lot of intentionality and commitment from everybody who wants to be a part of that village. But before I
Yeah.
go on to that, like I mentioned, if you saw the description of this show, we do have a special guest that is coming on to share their experiences at the later segment, but also here to chime in on other conversations. And without any further ado, I'm gonna bring on Before the Billions to the stage. What up, Before the Billions? Good to see you, man.
Hey man,
What's
how's
up?
everything going for you?
It's going good. It's going good. I'm glad to have
Good,
you on
good.
board and able to share your experiences about Afrotech. But before we even
Yeah.
get there, I want to definitely ask your thoughts on this question. Do you feel like the village is gone, where there's generations supporting each other, and now that is no more?
I think it depends, right? And you can kind of see that in how the government is acting right now, right? You can see that in the family structure. A lot of people are waiting later to have families. Um, so and really I think one of the biggest reasons why people are waiting so long, because they said that, most people are like waiting until like their 30s to have kids where it used to be when you were younger, because of the support system. I think that's one of the biggest reasons, and then
Mm.
also the economy.
Oh, could you dive in a little bit? You said the sports system. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on that. What
Yeah,
do you mean by the sports system?
their support system for their family.
Oh,
So
support system. Sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
their support system. So they let's say, it used to be that, you could get by with less money, right? Like you could have some ramen noodles and you can get some like McDonald's and stuff like that. But now McDonald's is expensive, right? So they actually are losing favor with lower wage earners. And that's actually something that they had came out with one of their reports. They were saying, hey, people can't afford to eat fast food and stuff like that. Families are having a harder time feeding their children and feeding themselves. So it's like, do I really want to have kids earlier on before the money comes in, or when I get a little bit older, do I want to have some kids, right? So all those things come into consideration when you're talking about like having the village, right? There's less families having kids, or you feel like you can't really support one another as easily as you could previously.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And before I
Yeah.
let Trey come in there, I'm going to say what up to what up to Tech Coach Ralph. What up? Glad to have you in the building, sir. I'm
Ooh.
glad
What's
to have you in
good?
the building, sir. We're talking about a topic I think you might find interesting. Is the village gone completely? And Trey, I don't know if you wanted to say something to respond to Before the Billions, but those are some good points.
Yeah, no, they were great points, and I agree with everything he said. But to ruffle some feathers on the other side of just the one point where he said people are waiting way longer to have kids as well. Uh, I think too a second piece is it's a lot of people out there thotting now. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people out there thotting, and they gambling, and they like, hey, I'm gonna wait and see if I can find the best one possible, and then they, either they crapping out or they finally get married way later down the line. Versus, a lot of people, they used to get married a lot earlier, or they used to get together at least a lot earlier. Now it's like, hey, I'm taking I don't know about you. Let me find somebody else, or let me go with these three real quick. Let me see who's here. So you got that in there as well. But I definitely agree with everything you said. But just to ruffle some feathers, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I gotta actually go back to something that you said, where I think is very true. It made me think about it in regards to the finance aspect of it. Our grandparents, if those that are still around, like you mentioned, people are getting children later in life, so they may not actually have their grandparents around, but also the grandparents that are still around have to work. Like I was actually at Costco yesterday and I saw how many senior citizens are, preparing the pizza and doing these different things. I'm like, man, these people need to be retired, but they have to work because of X, Y, and Z factors that happen, and that wasn't the case. It feels like everybody has to work just to make ends meet, basically. And like you
Mhm.
said, somebody said it yesterday because the fillet of fish for McDonald's was created for those that participate in Lent. back in the day, and it used to be like 2 for $4. And somebody said they went and they got, I think, maybe three, not four. I think it was just 3 filet of fish, and it was $17 at McDonald's for 3 filet of fish. And it's like, listen, I'm not even going to like go any deeper and like try to buy. The person actually drove off. They said I drove off. I didn't even pay for it. I didn't even collect it. I drove off because I was so like turned off by the idea that filet of fish, with all its stuff that got going on with it, it's $17. But that's the reality that we live in, and it's a very interesting one that man, we just got to figure out how we're going to deal with this, and continue to, invest. And actually, let me throw out this, before we transition to one of the other segments today is, what are your thoughts on what could help solve this? I mean, we may not have all the answers, but we may be able to chime in, and I don't know if anyone wants to share in the comment section. What up, NC Worker? NC Worker, good to have you this morning. Good to have you this morning. And also, Tech Coach Ralph did say something in the comment section that I'm going to bring up here. He says, if the village is gone, it's because people didn't value it to keep it going. If the village is gone, it's because people didn't value it to keep it going. What are your thoughts on that, y'all?
I'm thinking, I'm thinking that he's saying people didn't value like the family structure, like how they used to. I'm seeing that a lot now with social media. How, like, especially when I go to like a lot of these tech conferences and stuff like that, I meet people who are like in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s, and they're like, "Hey, I just don't want to have kids."
Yeah.
I grew up and we were broke, or I grew up with a large family. I don't want to have a family like that myself. So I think it's very individual. It kind of like, it depends and subjective. Depends on the person that you're talking to. But I am seeing trends in that where people are not valuing family.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, totally agree there. It's one of those things too, man. Sometimes you can be so close to someone that you don't really value what you have until it's gone. A lot of times we see that in whether it's family, marriages, right? Like, um, everything really. If you're close to someone, a lot of times you don't really understand the value that you have until that closeness is gone, or until like they're literally gone. And then you realize, oh man, all that time I wasted, or I could have showed up here, done this, and it's too late. And yeah, and so I agree with what he says, but also at the same time, there's that other side of it where, maybe you did have a family where it was just like really a lot going on. I'll put it like that. And you tried your best to, the only way you knew how was to distance yourself from it, when maybe it was to show a different light and how it could be. So there's that as well.
Yeah, really good points. Really good points, y'all. And who knows? You might have something you want to share about that. Go ahead. You can put it in the comment section. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a call-in show. So if there's anything that you feel like, hey, I want to share my thoughts on it, you don't have to show your face, but you could call in by clicking the link. The link is dropped there for everybody who wants to join and share their thoughts. With that being said, we're going to transition over to our next segment. And Trey's going to take this one away in regards to what Tesla and Mr. Elon Musk have done that possibly could put him over to being one of our first trillionaires. And with that, Trey, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, man. So Tesla shareholders, they went ahead and approved Elon Musk's record $1 trillion payout deal. Now, this was done on November 6th, 2025. And basically, they said, hey, 75% of the voters were like, the shareholders were saying, hey, we support this deal. Let's go and make one of the largest CEO pay packages in corporate history. And if it's fully earned, keywords, fully earned, and I'll talk about that here shortly, Elon Musk could become one of the world's first trillionaires, depending on who you're talking to. That's why I said one of the. But when it comes to the package structure, Musk receives no salary at all. No salary. Who's signing up for that? Just kidding. You'll see why in a second. All right. The only stock-based compensation is what he's getting. So it's only on stocks. Now, his money comes from stock rewards, and that's only unlocked if he hits these wild goals, which I'll talk about shortly. Now, he has 12 levels of stock bonuses, and these are called restricted stock units, all right, RSUs. And it's going to be worth up to 423 million shares. Now, to unlock them, Tesla has to crush some crazy numbers over the next 10 years. So it's a 10-year deal, okay? Now, the financial milestones, all right? So Tesla has to reach an $8.5 trillion market cap. That's a over 450% increase over what it is now from the 1.5 trillion that it is today. Now, just for comparison, Nvidia's peak market cap 5 trillion. They just did that not too long ago. And then Tesla's current value is between 1.4 and 1.5 trillion. So they got a little ways to go. Now, some of the operational targets for Elon Musk so he can get this bag. Now, he has to do 20 million Tesla vehicles over the next decade. All right, over this next 10 years. 1 million Optimus humanoid robots deployed. 1 million commercial robotaxis. 10 million full self-driving subscribers. And then $400 billion in annual core profit. Now, Tesla, they may also invest up to $5 billion in XAI, which is Elon's AI business. All right. So when it comes to the wealth side, Elon Musk Tesla ownership over this decade could rise from 12.8% to 25%, and his net worth could hit about 2.4 trillion, which, you know, if you're tallying it all up, it could exceed the GDP of every single country except for 7. That's a lot of countries, y'all. Now, even partial success. So he might not hit everything, but remember, he got 12 different ones he can hit. It could still give him about or give him tens of billions of dollars in earning, averaging about $275 million a day over the next decade. So he's still gonna get to the bag, believe that. Now, when it comes to what the stockholders campaign and the opposition, all right, so the ones who support, they're saying, you know, the Tesla board is arguing that the plan is going to make sure that Elon Musk stays and drives long-term growth. So they're wanting him to be full in, or at least more focused on Tesla than his other ventures. And if you know Elon, he got a lot of them, and they all do numbers. So they saying, hey, this is why we're doing this, to get him on this side a lot more. And they're also saying that that payout depends entirely on the shareholder value creation. So that's another reason. It's like, hey, we're going to pay it out as long as he do what he's supposed to do. If he don't, then we don't have to pay it. Now, the people on the other side, though, all right, you got some big funds like CalPERS and Norway's Wealth Fund. They said, nah, what are y'all doing? They said he's already worth $500 billion and Tesla is slowing down. What do y'all got going on? And then you got the other critics. They saying, no, that's too much power and too little accountability for Elon. So the board says it's going to keep him focused on Tesla and not SpaceX or XAI. That's really their whole goal there. And that's their rationale behind it. They argue that the past incentives have helped Tesla from near bankruptcy to an EV leader. And so they're like, we're going to double down. If it worked before, then it's going to work again. That's what they're saying. So anyways, at the drop of the news, Tesla stock did drop slightly. So some investors, you know, they wasn't really feeling the size of the package, pause. But the announcement came through a 50% drop in Tesla's German market share as well. So either way, Elon Musk celebrated with Tesla's Optimus robots, calling it the new book of Tesla's future. And yeah, this package absolutely dwarfs his last 2018 package, which is $55.8 billion, which is now tied up in court. And yeah, so either way, y'all, look, I'm saying all this and I'm excited about the package, pause, but I'm not a diehard like Elon Musk fan. Okay, I agree with I don't agree with everything that Elon says. Okay, that just is what it is. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the business side, you got to give it up to Elon. You got to. I mean, he has went from space to space, and literally space, doing what he does best, and he's bringing these companies to life and making money. So you got to give it up on that side. Everybody's arguing about the numbers, but the truth is, almost nobody else could pull this off. If I'm being honest, with all the other ventures that he has going on, and to still have this one on the board, almost it's not a lot of people that can pull it off. So he basically turned Tesla from a broke startup into a $1 trillion machine. That's really where it boils down to now, and they're just trying to keep the train rolling. So yes, shareholders are betting on him to go build that future, and we'll see if it's going to make him one of the richest men alive if he's able to pull it off. So, when it all boils down, if he misses, he gets nothing. If he hits, he's going to rewrite some capitalism as we know it, for sure.
Yeah, really good stuff, man. This is a really interesting conversation. I have some thoughts. I believe Before the Billion has thoughts as well. But I'm going to go to the comment section real quickly and remind everybody they could call into the show. The link has been dropped again. But I'm going to go from Tech Coach Ralph. He says, Elon laughing straight to the bank with this one. The criteria is heavy, though. We're going to dive into that. Elon really bet on himself. He also mentions here that that's why Tesla frames itself as a tech company instead of a car company. He said also the pay is the incentive to speed it back up, as well as if Elon left, Tesla would die, basically. And of course, pause. Play again, pause again. And then this is the last thing that we'll talk about before I pass it over to you Before the Billions. But Tech Ralph says, do you agree with everything everyone says? It's so sad that nowadays we have to have a disclaimer just to say.
Totally agree, bro. I agree with you, man. It is sad.
I don't believe in everything, but some things. Yeah, times have changed, right?
It's sad, bro. I hate having to say it. I hate having to, like, everybody knows everybody is not perfect. Why do I have to say I'm not perfect before I go in on something? Yeah. It's just like, I hate it, bro. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, because as soon as you say you agree with something, then it's like you're associated with them now. So if they say something else, you're like, well, I agree with that one thing, but not everything.
Bro.
Yeah.
But
two things can be true.
That's true.
Right, exactly. Something that you said, I wonder, can somebody actually really be a trillionaire, just based off of investments, right? Like, do we have any trillionaire companies? Like, are there any companies that actually have $1 trillion in revenue? But another point I just thought about, I was like, okay, well, he does have a lot of businesses because they co-founded. So Elon Musk co-founded PayPal, then also co-founded OpenAI with Sam Altman, and now he has XAI, he has X, he has Tesla. He also was selling, was it chainsaws or something like that? He had like this whole
merch. Like he's in a bit, like, bro, it's so many, and they all do numbers. It's just most people only know Tesla.
Yeah, man. So he's doing quite a bit of things. There's no real focus specifically on Tesla because there's also SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
There's this whole bunch of different companies.
That's his big focus.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different companies he's involved in. So yeah, I think the big focus will be like the SpaceX, and then also X as well. Tesla seems to be something like I remember they came out with a report either a year or two ago about how they were saying like, oh, is he actually really going to be focused on Tesla because he's investing so much time into X, right? Like he was talking about he's spending 16-hour days, like just working, and then the rest is sleep. Then he just works again. I'm like, how do you even sustain something like that?
Right.
And even focus on even hitting those numbers, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's very hard for him to be able to hit those targets to actually get the money, simply because he just kind of spread too thin.
I'm thinking about it myself, and I'm like, it may be hard for me or somebody else, but this is a guy that failed a lot of times with building a rocket, almost a laughing stock, and he's able to get it done. So maybe he might be like, Optimus, I'm putting y'all to work, or just like, I'm just joking, but basically kind of leveraging it. But if we talked about this actually a while ago, where the jack of all trades, master of none, where it was Waymo versus the Tesla, like robotaxis, for example, and the guy basically was comparing his experience being in a Waymo to one being in a robotaxi, and the robotaxi was literally taking him to Elon Musk's restaurant that had all those autonomous robots in it, Optimus there serving, and all a bunch of different things that kind of showed the handprint, the footprint, or the fingerprint, you wouldn't say, that Elon has in various different industries, and how even though he is the figurehead, he's not the one necessarily there all the time pushing the button saying do this, do that. He has people in charge to do that, but it is definitely a high gamble that he's playing. And just for those who missed it, if you're joining now, the list is extensive compared to the things that he needs to accomplish in order to hit that number. The 20 million Tesla vehicles over the decade, 1 million Optimus humanoid robots, 1 million commercial robot taxis. I think the 10 million fully self-driving subscribers, that's a big one too. And the 400 billion annual core profit, and that's not even talking about Tesla investing up to $5 billion in XAI, which who knows. But again, time will tell. I'm kind of one of those people that want to see a little bit more before I can make a decision on that and say if he can and cannot do it, because I feel like he has enough resources and people that supporting him to
That's
do
what
it.
I'm saying.
One thing though I'll keep in mind is that in order for them to get to that place, Tesla as a brand, a company, whatever, has to eclipse Nvidia, which I think will be a hard thing to do. That's the only part where I'm like, I don't know, because Nvidia, the way they're going is it's pretty crazy. At 8.5 trillion market cap. But what do I know? 466 increase. He must discover the next thing to keep people alive. I don't know. In order to accomplish that.
Bro, like I feel like it is possible on some of the ones he definitely can check off. Like, because it's also about the deal structure, which they know very well. Like they understand how to put deals together, or he does. So, like, I mean, I don't know what the number could be, but if he really wants to hit like the 20 million vehicles, he could easily, cut the price of one of the Tesla vehicles by a lot, and then based on maybe how long their lifetime value of the customer is, be like, hey, we'll be able to make it up on the full self-driving subscription. And that's boom, boom off both of them, right? Like, oh, hey, for, I don't know how many months, this certain Tesla vehicle is only $5,000. Boom, people going there cash. Wow, pink slip, give it here. And then the prerequisite, you got to sign up for self-driving, subscription for however long, whatever. Like he can make it happen, bro. It's all about deal structure. Can't forget about that. But either way, we'll see.
Yeah, really good points. And before we conclude, because I want to really go on to what before the Billions is here for. There is a couple of things I want to see from the want to share from the comment section. He said instead, listen to his post on how it was Tesla about to go bankrupt. I think I saw that one. It was sleepless nights. He literally was living in the office, which was pretty inspiring, but also shows his drive. He was like he said, he was sleeping on the office floor. Yeah, he was there. And then this man probably has a pharmacist on staff, and the Adderall supply is plentiful. All jokes aside, the man is a beast. That is definitely true. That is definitely true. And also, when you set the bar so high, you fail higher than those who succeed much lower. Interesting. Very good. Interesting point. If you set the bar high, your failure is the success of others. That's pretty deep, yo, and it's true in a lot of cases for sure. But listen, y'all, what are your thoughts on that? Definitely let us know. We probably could keep an eye on this story as well, like a few others that we've been following, and we'll basically circle back and talk about this. Do you feel as though, hey, this is what's going to happen in regards to him hitting that 1 trillion payday? This is definitely something to watch, man. He could really get social media behind this. If you really kind of played it right, get a campaign going, be like, listen, help me get to the 1 trillion. We see people do uh, get more visibility and support for less. So people be like, hey, I'm not trying to support a capitalist. Other people are like, huh, it'd be interesting. Let me do it. So you
He
never know.
owns X, bro. We can't forget. He owns
Yeah.
X. And he's opened the algorithm on his profile. Like, you look at his posts, bro, they get so many views, it's not even funny. Every single one of them. I'm not even capping, but
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes for sure. Elon asking for super chats. That's he probably just buy it himself at this point. But yeah, with that, we're very excited to have Before the Billions on to be on this show for a special reason. One being that we're going to talk about Afrotech 25. He actually had an opportunity to go. And whenever somebody from our village that we know of goes, we love to get their feedback and thoughts on one of the largest events that we have within the tech year, the calendar year that is. And so, with that being said, man, love to hear your thoughts. And don't worry, we're going to come back to the tech wire, but I want to start with this first, and then round it out with the tech wire. So here we go.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna just tell you, Afrotech 2025 was my very first Afrotech that I've been to. First time in Houston, first time in Texas. And I'll just say it was a great time.
Mm.
Okay. I had the privilege of getting a ticket through Technologies of Color. So they sponsored a ticket for me. I flew out there and I was like, okay, let me actually join on as an Afrotech insider. So I paid the extra money for the insider community subscription. So, like for the full year, you can become an Afrotech insider. You get access to like exclusive events and things of that nature. So I joined on there. I got into different like parts of the conference because I was an Afrotech insider. I was like, okay. I actually met Morgan a few months ago at the gathering spot here in Atlanta, Georgia, and when she had a book tour. So I bought a few of her books just to show some support. And then when I went to the actual conference itself, it was at the George R. International Convention Center, Conference Center. It was a good time, man. It was a huge conference area. And when I tell you, you could really get your 10K steps in just going on those 3 floors that they had. There were some big businesses. Google was there. They actually had 2 booths, right? This is one of the things that people were talking about, and people actually were getting jobs at Afrotech. I want to say that too. There are people who are getting hired at Afrotech. The thing is that when I was talking to some of the Google employees, they had the booth that was downstairs in the expo hall, which the expo hall didn't open up until Tuesday. So Monday was like a student day. Tuesday on to Friday, because they extended it. It used to be just 3 days. Now it's a full week, or like 5 days. So on Tuesday, they opened up the expo hall for Premiere and All Access and everybody else to go in and speak to of the big businesses and sponsors and everything, and the vendors. They told me that last year it was too loud in the expo hall, and that's why they had 2 stations. So one in the expo hall and then one upstairs on the 3rd floor, where you can speak to them one on one directly, and they can actually get to know you. You can speak to them. You have a higher likelihood of being able to get those positions. So I was talking to some of the attendees, and they were like, "Yeah, if you want to get a job, you got to go up to the third floor, right? If you go in the expo hall, you still could, but it's harder for them to make a real connection with you. It's more people, it's more foot traffic. Like I have had the privilege of being able to hire talent at conferences because I went to NASB earlier this year in March, and then we actually hired two software engineers. And let me tell you, it's kind of hard to really remember every single person that you're talking to. Um, Especially because you feel like a little bit of pressure. Hey, there's one person in line, somebody behind them. So yeah, I kind of had to hurry up this conversation. Let's connect on LinkedIn, and I got to get it over with. Um, but I do want to say that one of the things that people were talking bad about Afrotech was, hey, people aren't getting jobs. People are literally getting jobs, and I've seen it. You know, and they are making conscious efforts to be able to give people opportunities. Another thing I want to say is that there's some cool tech at Afrotech. So a few things. They had a hologram of Morgan. So it was pretty cool. So it was like you could take a selfie with her. I could actually share my. I don't know if you want me to share my screen or not, but I can share the post I made on LinkedIn
Sure thing. Yeah.
about it. Just so that way you can kind of see. Allow, and then let me know if you can see it. So this is. Can you guys see it? Yes. Okay. So this is my post that I made a few days ago about Afrotech, and this is me at Afrotech. And this is Morgan. This is the hologram that they
Bro,
had.
that's the hologram.
That's the hologram.
That is
So
Look
hilarious.
just like her.
right, it is her. It is like it's. So she, I guess, did it a pre-recorded video or something, and then what you can do is they had like this monitor, and she will turn around, and then there's like a camera at the top, and it will take a picture. But this was back when, like, had to have been a while ago because she was pregnant in the hologram, so it was a little while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. Google was there. Um, this is a group of people from Technologies of Color. So that's who actually sponsored it. And some of these big speakers, like I don't know if you guys know Abney Muhammad. He's one of the speakers who goes everywhere. So he's also is in this picture. And I don't know if you guys know Taylor Falls. She also was there. She works at Adobe. But yeah, it was a
Nice.
good time. I think that they had a lot of big businesses. Intuit was there as well. So, you had a whole bunch of different things that you could do. Some other technology that was really cool I wanted to talk about was they also had Disney that was there. So Disney came out there and they showed the animatronics, and like if you wanted to dress up as like the Hulk, they had this huge mechanical hand that can move, and they showed like the videos of them on the green screen to where they had like some fur or whatever it is on the hand, and then on the green screen it makes it look real. So you have a person
Ah,
in like a green suit and the green hand, and you just moving around. It was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So um I will say I'm going to be there next year. It was that good. I just wish that Houston itself had a train. That's the only thing. I wish Houston had a train, man, because you got to take the bus and it takes forever to get somewhere. But
Oh man.
or you got to Uber somewhere, and then Uber kind of gets a little pricey.
oh yeah.
I know they was hitting y'all over the head with the Ubers during that week for sure.
Constant
Man,
surge pricing.
yes, it was. Um, Another thing I noticed is the pricing of the hotels were crazy. It was like
Mm.
$1,000 per night or something like that
Oof.
for the Hilton Americas.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's the one that actually connects to the conference center.
Yeah.
The pricing there was crazy. I
Mm.
was
So
like,
they know
man,
they coming in. They coming in.
yeah, the food was expensive too, so that's another thing.
Price gouging
But
on the food.
yeah, man, it was like $9 for like a an icy. I was
What?
like, for
See,
some ice, some
I
flavored
would have went
ice.
for volume. I would have went for volume. With a conference that size, I'll go for volume. Let me do they got the $9 icy. Hey, we got the $4 icy.
Right.
Ah.
I'm 3x and they volume instantly.
Yeah, man. It was a good time though. Still, I will go back. Well, I am going back. I'll say that. I actually, um, well, just thinking about it, I was like, okay, they have their early bird tickets that just came out too, the super early
Mm.
bird tickets, and it's like $400.
Yeah.
So, you if you do want to go to Afrotech and you don't want to take the chance of waiting for a free ticket to come up, I would definitely go ahead and take advantage of the early bird pricing.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I actually was gonna go and ask a couple of questions before I do. Trey, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to do so. Or
Um,
if you need a little time, I could ask a couple.
I only had one, and it is kind of online and kind of not. But you mentioned that you have been a part of hiring at a conference, at a larger conference.
Mhm.
And so one thing that stuck out to me is you said it's hard to remember everyone. And then also, especially when you got the line and you see the next people in there. So can you give like the people, like what can you speak on what are some of the things that would make you memorable at a big conference, like something like Afrotech, to get hired by the individuals, like whether it's like, hey, personality or whatever it would be. If you could think back, what was it that made the person that you did hire memorable to enough to be like it was them?
Yep. It's interesting. So I'll give you like kind of like a quick story. So I went to a career fair, and this person actually did get hired. So perfect story for exactly what you're asking for. So when they came up to me, that we had a career fair, they were dressed up, right? They came in, they had a firm handshake, and then um, when we were talking, they seemed like they actually cared about what the company did. And so that was one thing. It was like, oh, okay, you guys do this. I want to hear more about it. Um, of course, like they talked about like the things that they did, but some of the things that they did or like if I asked them a behavioral question, like, oh, nice to meet you. How are you doing? Tell me about yourself or something like that. They would actually talk about themselves and not just list off a whole bunch of just projects and accolades. They say, oh, I'm from here. This is things I like to do, whatever it is. So then when I do ask you questions about like, oh, okay, well, what do you do? They can answer them and I can dig down deeper. So and it's quick conversations, right? So you have to be able to make a good first impression in a very quick way. And even if I don't necessarily remember like your name or anything, if you say, hey, can we connect on LinkedIn? And then they follow up with me, that's where the true power is. The power is in the follow up. So if
Okay.
they, you do all those things, you like go in, you show up in person, you make sure that you are professional, you talk about yourself and the things that you do, then follow up with me. And I associate, okay, I remember when I talked to you, you were a software engineer. And then on your LinkedIn, you showcase yourself as a software engineer. Then you follow up with me. That is what's going to make you stand out the most. And that person indeed did get hired. And they're doing a great job. And I'm glad that I actually was the one who helped them get into the position that they're in now.
Oh, that's dope. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I That was actually lying with the question I was going to ask too. So I really appreciate that. I'm gonna actually kind of go back and put it more in like Afrotech's context. Now that you went through it yourself, even though you were not a job seeker, but you were one that wanted to experience everything, what tips? I mean, you kind of laid out a couple already, but if you had to go back, what are some things that you would change about your approach? One, if you're a job seeker, and or two, if you were looking to, I'll actually say one at a time. Let's do the first one. What would you change if you were a job seeker coming out to Afrotech? How would you prepare for the event?
Yeah. I heard this quote that said, make your friends before you need them. So before you even get started with your job search, right, you have to start networking with people and start meeting people, making connections. If I was a job seeker, I would start looking on LinkedIn. Definitely first having optimized LinkedIn, right? And what I mean by that is actually showcase your skill set. Then go into now I did this when I was going to Afrotech. I went in and changed my title to say that I'm going to Afrotech 2025. Then I would look up on LinkedIn for people who also did the same thing, search for them who are going to Afrotech, connect with them ahead of time, join the group chats because they have a group me for Afrotech. They have a Discord for Afrotech, and then if you download the Afrotech app, you can also then speak with them as well. So I would go and start making my friends before I even make it to the conference because it's easier to do well with when you're in a group. If you go by yourself to any conference, anything like that, it makes it harder for you to step out of your shell, especially if you're introverted. You'll get into a line and it's like 50 people in the line. Like if you went to the LinkedIn booth, they had headshots. This line was wrapped around. It was a huge line. Them I even saw one for like Riot Games. Riot Games had a big long line. It was a lot of different people in these conference in these expo halls where you're trying to make connections with the hiring managers and the recruiters. Look, you have to start meeting people, and then what's going to happen is if you make some friends before you get there, you can say, hey, this guy who I just met, right? Do you want to go to the expo hall and we can go tag team together and then meet people, and then you get more opportunities, you make more friends, you get more connections, more opportunities, right? So that's what I would do first. And then also, of course, come professional. I would also come with a game plan of I would look at the floor map and see what put the pause. I would see this. All right, I don't know if it was the guy I just met. Just go tag team. I don't know if that was the pause.
I missed it, but that does sound possible.
Yeah, plausible deniability, right?
Pun intended.
You're right. So I would, but yeah, most definitely, I would look at the floor map and then see, okay, what companies are actually there, right? And where are they located? So that way I can go directly to their booth without having to go into the long lines or having to figure out where everyone is. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly who I want to meet. I have a list of people who I can call on, and then it brings down that pressure because you do extremely well when you really don't need anything, right? You can make a whole bunch of friends, get a whole bunch of opportunities when you don't need anything. And then when you go in there and you're desperate, it makes it harder for you to get those opportunities. So, long answer to your question, but yeah, that's what I would do as a job seeker.
Great answer. Go ahead, Trey.
No, man. I mean, that last statement. Well, I hope they was listening to that. That desperateness, it leaks off of you. I can smell it. I can see it on you. But when you walking around in general, and it's a different type of thing that's on you and reeking off you. And it's just, hey, I don't need this, but I'm open to it, or I'm enjoying this conversation, but I don't need anything from you. It's a different type of conversation. It's a different type of interaction, and people like you. They like you more. like, man, if you're needy, it comes off a little different. You sound a little different, and it's just like, man, how can I get out of this conversation? Because I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I love that point, man. But yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's really good advice. I have one more question, and then I want to kind of share something with the audience that I think would really actually help them in regards to this. But before I do that, the question I had is: you mentioned some things that would deter people that are searching for jobs, because people have probably been searching for jobs for a while, depending on where they were let go of or what happened with their situation. So they probably depleted their savings. They're probably at a place where, listen, that sounds great, the ticket was expensive, but the food's expensive, the hotel's expensive, the travel. Like, how do I make this work? Is there any sort of, and you don't mean I have the answer to this, but is there any sort of like tips that you would give to somebody saying, hey, you know what? This might, if I was to go back to just kind of make sure I could stretch my dollar, this is what I would do.
Yeah, I will say this is that, and that's also one of the big concerns that a lot of people had too. And some of the like few years ago, they were talking about Afrotech and how the value wasn't there, right? But I think that the value is there. If you are trying to get the best bang for your buck, I got a free ticket to go to Afrotech. So I would suggest that you start looking for raffles. You can go on to LinkedIn, type in Afrotech tickets, and there's people who are giving out like 10 free tickets to Afrotech. Right. So that way you can go on there, you just put in your name or fill out whatever the requirements are for that raffle, and then you can get a free ticket to go. I think the premier ticket is like a $650 value. Right. So you can save $650. Now, if you live local to Houston, that's a huge savings. If you live in Dallas, I think it's like a 3 hour, 4 hour drive or something like that to get to Houston.
Yeah.
So not too expensive, right? But then if you are like living in Atlanta or somewhere else where you have to fly into Afrotech, right? Or fly into Houston, it can get a little bit more expensive. But I would suggest looking into they have sponsorships, right? So you can get a free ticket, but then also they have companies that will pay for your flight as well. I had a guy one thing I talked to one of the speakers at Afrotech, and he was saying, so he actually had set up a GoFundMe for him to be able to go to Afrotech. He got the free ticket to go because he's a speaker, but they didn't pay the speaker. Well, at least I don't know if it didn't pay all the speakers, but he was just telling me that, hey, he didn't get paid to actually speak at the conference, so they didn't pay for like the flight and the travel or anything of that nature. So he set up a GoFundMe to be able to fly over there. People funded it. It was like, hey, you're speaking there, I'm going to go ahead and support. So I think we talked about it earlier, that village, right? That support
Yeah.
system will also be able to help you to be able to go to the conference, right? And he did a great job. His speech was awesome. And it was a good thing that he asked, right? That's another thing. Um, Now, as far as if you're trying, I think more so your question was more on the budgeting side of things. How do you budget
Mhm.
for the actual conference? I would say get away from the conference center. So I would say I went to the Galleria, right? That's where I stayed, because I was like the actual hotel was so expensive. So I went over there to the DoubleTree by the Galleria, and then they have stores there. I like, because if you go by the conference center, there's no stores. There's
Mm.
hotels and business offices, and you have to walk. And Houston's so spread out. Pause. It is. It is. It is. You have to make a long walk to get anywhere. So if you go by the Galleria, you can like buy food. They have a microwave in the room, so you can save a lot of money by going a little bit further away from the conference area and be able to have food and drinks or whatever it is and budget. And it's nice over there by the Galleria area. That is the same company that built out Lenox Square Mall in Atlanta. It's called the Simon Group. The Galleria is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lenox Group. They do a bunch. They have movie theaters, all sorts of malls and things of that nature. I think I know what you're talking about. So that's definitely wonderful. I definitely didn't mean to cut you off if I did. So I apologize if you wouldn't share anything else.
Yeah, you're good. I was done at that point.
No, tremendous value. I think we definitely need to talk about this more because there's a lot of opportunities for people in general that they may be missing out on because they're like, how do I get it done? And so with that being said, I want to just transition over to something that we talk about every week. But I want to take a deep dive as we're closing out the show here, which is the Tech Wire. So before this, it was on blacktechglobal.com, but blacktechglobal.com has since grown and evolved. And if you're not familiar with it, our friend Ty Smith, he created a website because he saw a need. He said there's a lot of events that are going on. People don't know about it. Conference founders are trying to fill these events. Let's get people to these events. But now they took it a step further and it evolved to what's called Secure the Badge, which is just launched. We could officially talk about it. It's the ultimate guide to upcoming tech events, but it actually is a bit more and it ties into what Before the Billions was sharing. So I'm going to share my screen here real quickly, just so you guys can see a little bit more about what I'm referring to here. So when it comes
to can I
go ahead.
Because I saw Ty at Afrotech. So I saw Ty and Jared and had a good time, man. It was good talking to them. I remember you got me connected with Ty like last year, and then he was saying he was just glad to see the growth that I've been able to do. So I was like, okay, it's a small world. I'm glad that I was able to see him again.
Yeah, no, Ty is a great person. We both, Trey and myself, could attest to that. And what they're building here is definitely something that a lot of people can benefit from. He's a like we talked before about creating a village. He's doing that on a huge scale across the tech industry. But I wanted to point out this real quickly because as we're wrapping up the show, because I really wanted people to just understand what it is that Ty and Jared, what they're launching together. So this is Secure the Badge powered by Big Stage Energy. And it's a list of conferences, right? So you see Channel Vision Expo, you see Obsidian, you see a few others that are on this list, the Houston events. They had Afrotech on here, but as we know, Afrotech has already passed. A bunch of other events that, depending on what your focus is, you can take advantage of this, right? I just realized that my screen is not showing.
No, it's not. I don't know if y'all can see that. They had 20 of them in there. So you talked about free tickets. They had 20.
Yeah, which is the next. That's exactly where we're going to go next. So in regards to the events, I apologize because I was looking at the wrong screen, but these are the list of just the events in November, right? And then they go into December and then into the new year. What I wanted to point out was this part right here. They actually are now starting a community. So you talked about it earlier before the billions about, hey, you want to go to the event with a group, you want to make friends. Absolutely take the advice that Before the Billions said. That was great, phenomenal advice. What I want to add to that is if you want to start building that community, even now, you could do it here. And what they're doing is, and I'm going to just click on it to show you, they just create a community here that basically provides you different things. So you see the price tag, right? You said the early bird special was let me actually share this tab so you can see it. You mentioned that the early bird special Before the Billions was $400, I think you said.
It's like $425 or something of that nature.
$425
just for Afrotech.
Just for Afrotech. That's one ticket. Every Tuesday they're giving out 100 plus tickets to events. 100 plus tickets for free. And so their community costs a little bit below $500, but you're getting tickets every Tuesday to events that are in your neck of the woods. Not only are you getting tickets to these events, but if you're interested in becoming a speaker, you're getting early access to speaking opportunities and speaking engagements and applications and things of that nature. And they're even helping bring speakers to events as well. So if you think about the value that is provided from this, it is phenomenal. I even had to pause a couple of times and not that kind of pause, but
Yeah.
I was talking to him and I was like, hold up, explain this to me again. Is this da-da-da-da? He's like, yes, free tickets at some things at discounts, exclusive memberships. You have a built-in community, so you can talk about events, tips and tricks to actually developing that. You could also find ways to get income by even being a speaker for some of the events, depending on, like you mentioned, some events don't pay everything, but there are some that would, and you get opportunities to grow your I won't say discography, but you're able to grow your portfolio in regards to speaking events and things that you probably have done or haven't done before. So the tremendous value that this community now brings is immense. Also, in this is exclusive flight and hotel discounts as well. So we talked about how to do things on a budget. A lot of that is here as well. So you get all of this by just being a part of the community, and you could basically get access to this by going to securethebadge.com. Again, it's securethebadge.com. And I'm going to go back to that website just so you could see it here, securethebadge.com. Again, this is something that Ty has done and a few others. So Jarrett being the other person, they've come together to create this amazing resource because they found ways that they want to give back to the community. And we want to make sure you understand the level of care
Give
and
backness.
intentionality that went into this. And yeah, go ahead, Trey.
No, I said the level of give backness.
The give backness. Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good one. The level of give backness right now that you're seeing here is pretty crazy. So definitely worth checking it out. The value is there. It pays for itself just by one Afrotech ticket. And this is not just one Afrotech. You get opportunities to go to multiple events a year. So I'm a part of the community. Trey's a part of the community. A few other people are joining the community. So definitely check it out for yourself because the value is definitely there.
Yeah. And also, Joe, just to clarify this, that's for the very early bird, the super early bird ticket for Afrotech. It's not the
Regular price.
Afrotech ticket, right? The regular one, because prices will increase. So, you get it for an even lower value, right? Or
Yeah.
even lower cost for the same, value or more value.
Yeah. And I want to confirm something because I want to make sure that it was, and you could probably confirm it to Trey because I think it was in our chat with Ty where he mentioned that Afterpay and Klarna are options as well, I believe. Where if you don't have it all up front, you could still pay out with those services. So to me, no brainer, no brainer, especially if you're in a situation where, listen, you might be stuck at your job. You may be job hugging at this time because you literally are afraid you don't want to have anything else go. You might say, hey, I lost my job. I want to find a way to get opportunities to like before the billion said to actually get in the room with these people. This is the opportunity that is there. They're all over not just in the United States, all over the world. I'm looking at an event right now in Dublin, Ireland. I'm looking at other events that are in the UK, some events that are in Canada. So there are events all over that you could definitely leverage. One is in South Africa, Cape Town. So if you are in different parts of the world, does not mean you cannot benefit from this. Looking at one in Berlin, Germany, like there's so many different events that are out there that you definitely want to leverage. And so go ahead if you have not and check that out for yourself and see the value that's there. Don't take my word for it. Go ahead and check out securethebadge.com for yourself so you can see the value. And let us know. Let us know if you actually do it. You signed up, you get a ticket, you go to an event. We want to hear your experience. So if by any chance you get to leverage Secure the Badge, we want to put you on the show. We want to highlight your experience and definitely get your feedback. With that being said, y'all, we are about to wrap the show. Any parting words from anybody on the panel here, Trey, before the billions, before we go?
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I want to say this right quick is that so I just got back from Philly for the first time like yesterday, and I was speaking at a STEM conference.
Oh, STEM Social.
That was at the Solstice Summit. So I was speaking there, and it was a great time. I would suggest that for people who are looking into going to different conferences, there's a lot of value in going. I love how you had your the promo for a big stage energy and secure the badge, because I think people really need, to be able to get exposure to different conferences, to just meet people, and you never know what somebody may say that can change your life. So yeah, it's I think it's a great value.
Text giving changed my life in that one event. I know Trey, we're talking about the event that you went to that like changed everything for you, man.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
It did. Yeah. The one event, one line, one word, one person. I'm a firm believer. You can change your whole life in 30 days. Anything is possible. You meet the right person, it can change the next day. Right. So it's one of those things. You got to be open. You got to be vigilant. You need to be you need to be thinking about it. Things don't just happen. Things happen just. So you got to make sure you're doing the right things to make sure those things happen for you. So yeah, totally agree, man.
Yeah, Tech Coach Ralphie peeped the gear. I won't say much more. I'll let you talk about it. But
Trey got the matching hat and the jacket. Yeah, bro. It's what Joseph just said. This is Quantum Bridge. This is a business. Okay, I told you I'm not just talking about it. You gotta be about it, right? So we're talking about bringing in AI into businesses that know they need it, but don't have any clue on how to implement. And so yeah, this is. But you already know I got to make sure that the merch is there, because that's just me. Yeah, if I'm gonna wear it, it's got to be a little fire, a little something. So you seeing it, bro. You AI and automations, but yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Listen, this has been a fantastic show. Before the Billions, as you already know, you're invited anytime. You feel free to just jump on. The link will be dropped like usual. And if y'all have found any sort of value from this conversation, like the ticker says below, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if you have not, and also share this. There might be some people that are interested in hearing about what was shared regarding going to conferences in Afrotech. And Tech Coach Route says, Trey, I'm on it. He says, I'm on it. But yeah, listen, we want to definitely tell you thank you. We appreciate you. And this has been Talk That Tech, the
#1 tech morning show in the world. We'll see y'all next week, baby.
Peace and elbow grease.
Peace.